And joining us now with more on the Israeli strikes against Hamas leaders in Qatar and the aftermath is Yissachar, Director of Research at the Israel Defense and Securities Forum. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Lida. Good to be with you.
So we see Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu immediately take credit for the strike in Doha. And then after initial reports that U.S. President Trump gave the green light for this operation, we see President Trump sort of distancing himself from the attack, saying it's unfortunate. However, not so unfortunate that Israel targeted Hamas. So what do you make of these comments? And how likely is it that Israel would strike in Doha without the U.S. go-ahead?
Well, it's definitely unprecedented, and Israel in that marked how it's willing to go and break the glass ceiling, the self-imposed glass ceiling, and carry out much more daring activities, if you will. Israel's audacity is coming into play here. And I think many Israelis felt that Qatar has been harboring terrorism. And since October 7 especially, these people, really the genocidal leaders of Hamas, have no right to keep walking among us. And every day these guys are alive is another ticking time bomb, and they have absolutely no right to continue to live. But always this game, and as you see on the screen, they celebrated right on the morning of October 7 as Israelis were butchered and kidnapped. But there was always the feeling that Qatar, the state, while harboring these mass murders, was also, had a seat at the table. That's why they were harboring them in the first place, right? So the hope was that Qatar will assist in carrying out these negotiations, and for a while it worked. But we see how Hamas persists with this refusal, and Qatar is not playing ball anymore, and Israel decided to embark on this action. And as you said, the White House tried to distance itself. That's the role of the political diplomatic jargon. Let's not be too worried about that. I think everybody's quietly happy about it today.
And now we have heard from Qatar that they are considering retaliation against Israel for the strikes. Is that likely, and what sort of retaliation could we be looking at?
I don't think it's likely. I think Qatar's retaliation is manifesting itself every single day by continuing to harbor mass murderers. Just 2 days ago, they murdered 6 more Jewish people in Jerusalem. And I think that every day they keep harboring them and giving them, like in the US, if you have sanctuary cities for criminals, so Qatar is a sanctuary state for terrorists. And it's very evident to see that Qatar has not ceased its willingness to keep hosting these mass murders. Every day, Qatar has been hosting them is a kind of retaliation. So I wouldn't jump too much ahead if I were them.
And when will we likely know if the operation was indeed successful? And if it wasn't, if Israel was unable to take out the Hamas leadership in the strike, was this a one-time opportunity, sort of an historic miss?
There are always more opportunities, but let's wait and see. I think Israel definitely has a very high chance of taking down at least some of the Hamas leaders. And, it sends a great message of deterrence. I hear leaders around the world, you mentioned the White House at first. The U.S. administration, in my view, is perfectly aligned with Israel's goals. But, you watch across Europe at the United Kingdom and France and other countries, and the way they are reacting to this activity is not baffling because it's not surprising, but it is very disappointing. To align with Qatar, to express total support for a country that is harboring terrorists. Can Israel harbor terrorists? Can the United Kingdom harbor terrorists? So there is a vast area of political consideration. There is a chessboard, and we all understand that. But this is not without you cannot overlook the kind of soft influence that Qatar has on these countries. We remember Qatargate in the European Parliament a few years ago when Qatar attempted to buy off European representatives earning their wage from taxpayer money in the European Union. We see how Qatar really is flooding the zone in Europe, in the United States, with billions of dollars on academia, popular culture, and all in order to get to this very moment where these leaders are demanded and requested to bow down, kiss the ring, if you will, and express support and solidarity for Qatar. I wish they reserved some of the harsh words that they expressed to Israel toward Qatar, because Qatar's activities in the past few years really show that it is a very sophisticated, very manipulative actor, but it's also harboring terrorists, and this is absolutely unacceptable.
Absolutely. Or Yissachar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.